did it. Two weeks in a row.
We made it happen. It's like we're on a regular schedule now or something.
What?
You would think we were like some kind of British TV show that takes 2 years between seasons.
Well, we need to get through this so I can get to that British TV show.
Or a show like Twin Peaks that takes 25 years between seasons. Not us, baby. Not us. Hey, folks, it's Wednesday. Welcome to Blank as a Fart. I'm Gabe. This is Ian. We're watching Twin Peaks, and we're into the really good stuff now, at least as far as I'm concerned. Ian may have a differing opinion.
Always.
That's what makes the show great. But yeah, we're doing the return. We're on part 3, so we've had some time to soak it all in to get the new vibe of this pure uncut Lynch version of Twin Peaks. What's your takeaway so far? Like how different does this feel to you compared to the OG series?
It doesn't at all. You say pure and uncut.
Not at all?
I feel like this is just like it's weirder. I will say it's weirder, but I don't think it being weirder really. I mean, I guess we'll find out, but I just feel like it's just all style over substance at this point.
Well, I mean, I think something else they've taken advantage of right now is pacing.
Oh,
like,
yeah, because I needed. You're like in the fucking Mike. What is it? Brian Michael Bendis decompression of comic books, where it's like fucking. You have a little dialogue bubble in the first page, and then it's just like someone takes a shit for like 32 pages, and at the end he's like, oh, we're out of toilet paper, and it's like, oh, cool, we decompressed the story here. Oh, cool, thanks, Brian Michael Bendis. I didn't know you and David Lynch had so much in common. All right. No, I mean, this episode is just, come on, we can get through this way faster than this. This is just
oh, just you wait.
I'm like, you know what, I get it. You know what, Gabe, here's the thing, I love doing this show with you. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But, man, I don't know. I think you were expecting it to get better. I don't know, man. Like, I was pretty positive on last episode. This episode, whoa, man. Like, let's get through this. Like, why is this happening?
It is worth noting that parts 3 and 4 also aired together as one unbroken episode on the original airing.
I don't think that mattered here.
So,
I didn't feel like a need to. I think it does a pretty good job of. I think it's a pretty good cliffhanger for 3, the way this one ends with Gordon and we're gonna go off. I think that's a pretty good ending point. I don't really feel like it. I feel like episode wise it's fine. I just feel like, man, we could this. I could have told this in like a half fucking hour. I don't. Whatever, it's fine. I get it. Pretentious artist at this point. I'm just going to like force my art on everybody. That's cool. I know what it's like. I'm a filmmaker. I've done the same thing. There's a reason that shot's that long. I get it. But holy fuck. Anyway, I'm sorry. We can get to it.
No,
I may have been drinking a little bit more during this episode than last week's episode also. So the opinions might fly a little more like just from the hip. Anyways.
Oh, and for those of you who haven't watched any of Ian's other podcasts, he doesn't like Bendis.
Oh, I like Bendis fine. It's Matt, my coworker, my co-podcaster on Milkman and Revenue. I like Bendis just fine.
Well, you like his work, fine.
Yeah. Oh, him as a person, he can be questionable. Sometimes, yeah. But
he's a local for us.
Yeah, so he thinks he's a celebrity, and it's just kind of annoying sometimes.
To an extent, he is, but
come on, man, we both shit and wipe our asses, bro.
Yeah, fanboys though, fanboys. Yeah. They give people swelled heads.
We didn't have to go back to this. We could have just stayed off of that. I was just using it as a comparison.
I'm just trying to pad the show.
Sure. Oh, well. Oh,
it's all about the banter.
You think it's going to be a short one?
No, not really. Well, I mean, there's not a lot of dialogue, and there's not exactly a lot of plot motion.
Yeah,
there's just a lot of me describing
the
emotion.
Right.
And I don't know if I want to just call this a motion picture as much as a motion painting, because there's a lot of surrealism in this episode, for
Yeah,
sure.
and it's pretty fucking silent for like, not silent, but like there's no talking for like almost, I mean, pretty much for like the first 15 or so minutes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
For the
like,
first quarter of the episode,
it's
there's
just
only
like
two
wild.
lines of dialogue, I think. So,
And it's fucking sporadically weird dialogue. So,
yeah, not all of it is actual words. Any housekeeping before we get along? Shout out to Domer, theme song, Big Ol' Dead. We've done that a lot. We love the dude though.
we're
Check out his other project, Night Brunch.
oh,
They're also up on Spotify, iTunes, and they've got an Instagram account, Night Brunch Band. So yeah, give them a look. See,
we're just a
I think
podcast.
pretty much.
We're on all the platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Audible. You can watch us live every Wednesday at 8:00, live on YouTube. And you can also watch those archived on my YouTube page, youtube.com/MilkmanPictures. And there's also a video aspect on Spotify. So if you just want to watch it in Spotify, you can watch it. And I think this thing's kind of fun sometimes, watching us.
Oh, we've got video on Spotify now. Hey, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you pull it up on the app, actually, even on your phone or something, it'll play a video. So
Awesome. That's great news. Moving toward the future, folks.
the future.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and dig in, shall we?
We shall.
So, as part 3 opens, Cooper is continuing to plummet through this bizarre void he's found himself in. Wind continues to violently whip around him, at least based on the motion of the camera, and what appear to be stars shake violently in our vision. I mean, I kind of picture how simplistic the filming of this actually
100%.
was.
He's just standing still in front of like a space.
I could
like,
see. I mean, I think he might actually like be laying down, like planking or something, in a couple of those shots.
I'm sure some of them, but like,
But yeah,
some of them the way
he's very
kinda,
stationary.
Yeah.
All the motion is in the camera and in the
yeah.
editing. But it achieves a great effect. I mean, it kind of gives you the sensation in the best way that a medium of this sort can.
He does it for far longer than he needs to, but that's cool.
Everything he does is for longer than he needs to. He's all about soaking it in.
Yeah.
And I think that does a lot for mood, but that's just me.
Maybe.
Suddenly, from Cooper's point of view, we see a giant purple cloud billowing up to meet him as he falls face first towards it.
Galactus. That was my first fucking thought. Fox movie Galactus is what I thought.
Yeah. Without the glowing center. I don't know. It made me think of some kind of MTV haze, but I don't know. Those years are fleeting. Eventually, it consumes his whole perspective, and we see him land gently onto an exterior porch of a large concrete building overlooking an endless sea. The sky and the light emanating from it bathe everything in a fuzzy shade of purple. Cooper finds his way inside the building via a large window, and as he enters the room, which is also bathed in an eerie purple light, time itself seems to begin to slip in and out of sync.
So are we meant to believe this? I guess is what I'm taking, is that the cloud thing consumed him?
I think it caught him.
Caught him. Oh,
It's kind of it to me it felt like it was a cushion. Because I mean, if you look at how gently he ends up landing
sure.
versus how violent the implication of the fall was, I feel like that, it was a buffer to allow him,
Everyone needs a
something that
bosom
was.
for a pillow, Gabe. Everyone needs a bosom.
I mean, if you look in contrast, the first time he was falling through the void, he landed pretty splat
Right.
onto the glass case. This time it's a little more of a float. So
Sure.
So I see the purple cloud as a welcoming presence. Although once he's in the room, it doesn't really feel like that, does it?
No.
Yeah, I really can't describe the editing here. It's just, and I really feel like the reason he does this is because this is the perspective that Cooper is experiencing it from. And that's kind of like again, we talked last week about how like stuff in the red room, and obviously this whatever this realm is like kind of just on the borders of human understanding, and there are like energies here that our senses can't accurately perceive.
So this is
So this
basically
is
the way this sequence kind of plays out. Is it's kind of a they basically pull a bunch of frames. It kind of looks like just photographs. In some of the sequences are kind of have like a certain amount of frames to them, and other ones just seem like they're just a frame, and it cuts to another frame that's a different movement. They're just pulling a lot of frames out of this to make it look.
well, and there's like a boomerang effect in some shots as
Yeah,
well,
that's what
though,
I'm
where it's
saying. So
like
like they'll put a bunch of frames in, and then they'll go back to other frames, and then just pop them in, so it'll like pop back to the other frame, like where he was before. So it's kind of this constant like, yeah, it's just like going through photos really fast and then going back to photos. It's like a very
I can kind of see this in my head, like working with some digital audio workstations and cutting and pasting and in concepts like that. And just like sometimes having fun with drum fills, slicing them as tiny as I could. And like, yeah, I can kind of see that
so there's a thing
just
you
being
can
a fun
do.
thing to play around with
There's
in video editing software.
so in video you can actually like have it capture it all as frames, so then you can bring it into the timeline as like every single frame as a single file, and then you can easily pull them instead of having to cut each thing, which is obnoxious. Then you can just pull them out and replace them and move them around, so like you can get all kinds of weird kind of jittery effects and like stuttering, and then like that jump back kind of cut back to like jump cut back, so it's super, instead of like shooting the whole sequence and then you just have one piece of video and then you have to cut it yourself. Yeah, you can like the computer will create the frames for you, and then you just very easily just move them around and stuff. So it's actually a really easy thing to do. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. And then they just really lay on a lot of just kind of color effects and stuff on this. So
yeah, lots of saturation, lots of fuzzy focus.
There's some weird aura stuff going on too occasionally that they're doing. Like they have like drop shadow on him, and it like kind of like there's some weird interesting things they're doing. They're just fucking with it as much as they can to make it unsettling.
I think it looks, yeah, and I think it's great. I think it definitely achieves what it seeks to do, which is make the viewer just as unsettled as Cooper is in these circumstances. I hate to keep rambling before we do much recap, but I want to go back to something that I've noticed. And like, I feel like, and we've touched on how, my knowledge of Lynch's earlier work is fairly cursory. A lot of it has faded into the memory of youth. And I've deliberately held off of revisiting much of it until after we've finished the podcast. So now, based on my memory of Lynch's work that I viewed in the past, this is something entirely unique. This is something he's never done before.
It's something it's something he's never done before for sure. I feel like this show from the very beginning was some kind of exercise for him to just kind of fuck around, And I feel now with this,
just to see how far he can take it.
And I feel like now he's just doing that to the next level, Yeah, he's never I've never seen Inland Empire. I know that was something that's like a 3-hour film, but like has like 20 hours of extra content that you can just watch or something. Like it's a fucking wild thing. I don't know what he did with that. I never watched that. But yeah, a lot of his other kind of films are pretty more not coherent, but more like traditional. The way they're shot and kind of done. This is definitely he's just, whoa, I have this idea. Let's just. Maybe they did shoot it. It's interesting, too, because once they get out of that main room that they're in, it kind of goes back to traditional. They don't keep that style going. They kind of move away. They're just traditional. So I'm just curious, maybe they shot it all traditional, and then he wanted it to be edgier, and he just went to, Dwayne Dunham and said, hey, let's try importing that footage as frames and just really fuck with it, just really kind of make it more unsettling than it is. It could have, this could have just been like a last minute, like, I want to change that, and so that's just in the editing, you're just kind of like, let's fuck around.
And as we progress, there's a definite moment where like Yeah, we'll explain a little
Yeah.
further.
But I'm just saying, like, from
Let's.
as an editor or something, like sometimes you want a certain scene to have a thing, but then you don't want the rest of the sequence to have the thing. So like, there's definitely like a, whatever. But go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
He just entered.
In the middle of the room, yes, Cooper sees a woman in a red velvet dress, with patches of flesh and scars where her eyes should be. She is seated on a curved couch in front of a fireplace with a roaring fire. He approaches her and she reaches out, grasping his hands as she draws near. Time stands still for long enough for Cooper to ask, "Where is this? Where are we?" The first words of the episode.
But they're also kind of
His
like pushed back in the sound mix. They're not like
Yes, yeah,
super
his
forward. It's very kind of like
no, it's like at the end of a long metallic tunnel.
yeah.
Yeah, the note I have here is his voice is oddly distant and hollow. Yeah, everything right now is distorted. The blind woman guides him to sit next to her on the couch. She appears to be trying to communicate with him as she holds his face in her hands, but it seems the only sounds she is able to make are staccatoed, high pitched whispers. Suddenly, a loud banging begins on a metal door at the far end of the room, and the blind woman quickly makes a shushing motion with the finger to the lips, urging Cooper to remain silent. On the other end of the room, a large, ornate electrical outlet suddenly appears and catches Cooper's attention. He rises to go inspect it against the protestations of the blind woman. As Cooper gets closer, he can see the number 15 inscribed above the outlet, and the omnipresent hum of electricity, which has been an undertone ever since he walked in, grows increasingly louder. The blind woman is able to catch Cooper and stops him from getting any closer to the outlet, frantically gesturing toward it and pantomiming a slashing motion, with her hand across her throat. Yes, very excellent demonstration there, Ian. Thank
Cut
you.
it out, as we would
Or
say on Full House.
thing's gonna fuck you up. Gonna fuck you up. Fuck you up. Yeah. So bad shit. The pounding on the metal door increases while the blind woman guides Cooper to a second, apparently hidden side door, which leads to a ladder. Oh, God. The two climb up the ladder and open a hatch.
Okay, hold on a second. Just
The
for a
blind
second.
woman leading the way.
Just a second. So like when she leads him to this door, when they walk through this door, this is where the staccato frame cutting stops and it goes back to normal motion video.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's pointing that out.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as they exit the room, we get regular time. And
we don't know
as they open
time.
the hatch, we don't know what the hell's going on. And that's part of what I love about this. The two climb up the ladder and open a hatch onto the roof of a small metal box, floating in open space with a very large bell-shaped metal drum taking up most of the available room on the top. It's bigger on the inside. Doctor Who fans, where you at? Crickets.
I'm more into the American Doctor Who, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Because you can fit 12 dudes in a phone booth, but it fucking hurts.
As much as I want to hate on that statement, there's a valid argument to be made for it.
That's why I've always rocked. It's my first one of my first films I was in, so
Be excellent to each other.
Always. Wild Stallions.
Melvin, your shoelace is untied. Anyway, where are we?
We're on the top of the box. Or we're climbing. It took them forever to walk out of the box, actually. This is one of the things I was like, fucking okay. Let's
spending a lot of time looking around here. The blind woman continues to try and chirp at Cooper, but we can't even really hear the noise she makes over the incessant pounding at the door, which we can still hear outside.
In the vastness of space. So clearly.
In the vastness of space, where sound is not supposed to carry. Yeah. There's also supposed to be no gravity here.
Let's not even
or
get
air,
into that.
Or
yeah, we'll get it.
What the fuck? I don't think we're
not,
in space.
I don't think we are either. Well, we're in inner space with, Dennis Quaid and Martin Short. Namyo Horengekyo. Anyway, carry on.
Yippee-yi-oh-hi. Robert Picardo is a hidden gem in that movie.
That whole movie is a hidden gem. Very underrated. Yes, no one watches it.
I need to watch that movie again. That was an old favorite of mine in my teen years. Does it hold up? When was the last time you watched it?
It's been I've seen it recently, but like I would say recently, like in a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years. But I like it. I think it still holds up. It's fun.
No one can argue against Martin Short. I mean, comedic Short. Genius.
Yeah, great.
Brilliance all around.
Say some shit about Dennis Quaid at this point because he's kind of turned into a person that's not the person I want him to be, but.
And we can say that about some of our favorite Twin Peaks cast members too, unfortunately.
Yes.
But let's not delve into that.
It seems to be contagious, Gabe. It seems to be contagious.
Dude, I saw some clip of Drea DiMatteo on a podcast.
Really?
Talking about chemtrails and how the government controls the weather, and I'm just like, oh god.
Is she still having sex on OnlyFans? Like,
probably. I mean, I don't think she's getting work in California anymore.
Anyway, wow, that took a left turn. All right.
Wow, yeah, we're off topic, folks. Let's get back. Blind woman feels her way around the side of the metal drum, towing the edge of the roof as Cooper looks on with great trepidation, clinging to the small piece of scaffolding at the top of the ladder. The woman finds what she was looking for in a large lever, which she pulls down with great effort, turning off whatever energy appears to be the source of the sickly purple hue, and simultaneously giving herself an electric shock that sends her flying off the cube and plunging into the void of space while Cooper looks on in dismay.
And this is my first piece of evidence for how David Lynch thinks about women. Just disposable plot devices. Let's carry on, shall we?
Ooh. Yeah, let's put that thumbtack in the bulletin board and come back to it later.
I mean, he's an old man. I get it.
Is it commentary or is it?
I mean, he's done it a lot of times, Gabe. I don't know.
He has. I mean, a lot of the general commentary about Twin Peaks as a whole is the general dispassion of the public about violence towards women. And we dig deep into that in those first 2 episodes. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of violence against women here in this one, but there is a lot of devaluation of women.
It's just, yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
this one I can see it's necessary for the weird art, but for later there's some stuff that's like, was that really necessary? Even though I'm a pervert. Jane. Yeah, even though I'm a pervert and I appreciate it, it's like, was that even fucking necessary? Like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah, good question. Because again, that's not something he does a lot of in his films.
No, because he has
not to a gratuitous degree like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see.
I would argue it served a purpose in Fire Walk with Me.
I would say he's probably more focused. I think this is just allowing him to do whatever the fuck he wants. So you're just kind of, Anyway. Carry on.
Anyway, carrying on. It's silent now as the pounding has stopped, and as Cooper ponders the void beneath him, the ghostly disembodied head of Major Briggs floats sideways into view. It blinks.
Do I have to tap out right now? Are we seriously just having his head float by like fucking, like, what is, like, fucking Power Rangers? Like, is that seriously what's fucking happening right now? It's like, okay.
I guess, I mean, Major Briggs is a pretty vital part of the story. And with Don S. Davis having passed away in 2008, there were limited ways to work him
Reincorporate him.
back in. Yeah. We saw a little bit of this with the arm earlier on. And spoiler alert, we're going to see more of it with Bob later on. But not only Bob, but Philip Jeffries. And it's difficult to. Oh, this is something that really should be discussed at the end
of this episode, or at the very end
of the series as a whole.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Yeah. So let's move on from that conversation for now.
We'll table this discussion.
But yeah, put a pin in that one. Put a pin in it. Yes. Briggs's head blinks and speaks 2 words at Cooper, "Blue Rose," and drifts away. Cooper spends a few more moments looking around at the void in puzzlement before he decides to descend the ladder back into the room at the fireplace.
I do have to say that my eyes rolled back in my head so hard when he said "Blue Rose." I'm just like, oh my god, what? Okay. Anyway, I was just like, I was in it. I was kind of watching it. I was like, okay, this is just being artsy for artsy fuck's sake. But like, it's like when this fucking Zargon head rolled in and said "Blue Rose," I was just like, all right, stop. Are you fucking me right now? Do I have to like suck a dick or something? Like, what the fuck is going on?
There's some stuff that goes on in this episode that you kind of get an explanation for later.
There's some stuff that you get in this episode you get an explanation for, and it's just still fucking badass crazy. It's just like, okay, I'm like, what?
Right. But I kind of envy you in the fact that you're like experiencing some of these scenes for the first time, whereas I already have a behind the scenes understanding of them.
Yeah, but you have a love for the show. I have a very weak.
I do.
Like,
but even still, like the yeah, and being having a love for the show and seeing this shit for the first time, it just it gave me it fulfilled what I needed it to fulfill. This episode was huge in that regard for me.
Okay.
Like this, particularly these first 20 or so minutes, just like the prime weirdness of it all is all of what I dig about it. This is what I watch Twin Peaks for.
But the funny thing is
elements like this.
It's all style. There's no substance here. This is like, you could argue that this is like straight up like fucking Michael Bay Transformers, because this is not really saying no. It's a popcorn entertainment, Gabe. It's not saying anything important. It's really just entertainment for your brain. Your brain likes the weird shit, but it doesn't say anything topical. It's not speaking to me on a place that has like something important to say. It's literally just being weird for weird's sake. And so like action can be action for action's sake, or porno can be porno for porno's. It's just popcorn. It's just like entertainment. It's just like, and this is what I think this is. This Twin Peaks thing is like, I think it's just Lynch stretching, just like, I'm just going to make crazy entertainment just for the fans. And that's cool. You can do that. But I don't think it speaks to me. It doesn't say anything. It's like when he walks into that room with the lady with the eyes covered and stuff. It's like, okay, what is this saying? What does this mean? It means absolutely nothing. She's literally just a plot device to turn the fucking lever for him to do the next thing. That's it. It doesn't. It's shot creepy. It looks creepy. There's some cool shots in that stuff that's edgy, but it doesn't. It says absolutely nothing. It doesn't. It's not revealing any true like human nature. Really, it's just, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with this. Like, I feel like, but that's just fine. That's fine. It can be that kind of entertainment. It should be that entertainment. We need all that kind of different kind of entertainment. But it's like, it does kind of change the difference between Lynch as a filmmaker and Lynch as a TV, director. Like, I feel like his films kind of say more in them than what Twin Peaks is saying. I don't think Twin Peaks says much except good versus evil, really. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm at right now on this. I'm sure that's my current thesis of the show right now. It might change. I have a feeling it's not, but we'll see.
We've got a long way to go. My counterpoint.
We've come a long way, Gabe. We've come a long way.
We've got further to go. Well, not further, but it may not be farther, but it's denser.
We have a jaunt ahead of us.
We don't have any Dick Tremaine in this run. We do get the Mitchum brothers, which is fun.
That's too bad. I would like little Dick.
We'll save them for next week.
He's walked back down the ladder.
I did want to make a quick counterpoint to your little rant there.
It's not a rant. It's a fact. I think
it was a rant.
It's on.
It was long enough. I'm pretty sure
it's on the internet, so it qualifies as fact.
Oh, that was a good 5 minutes. That's a rant. My counterpoint to that would be that, a lot of art is about making a statement, but it feels to me like a lot of Twin Peaks, particularly the Red Room scenes, are all about asking questions.
That's fine. I wanted
art that asks questions interests me more than art that makes statements.
Okay, hold on a second. That's not. No, it can still be a statement, but you can still question it and wonder about it. I think that's a gray area. I will say this: it's okay for art to just be art for art's sake.
Mm-hmm.
It can be. This could be his just. What do you call that style of just? It could be just abstract. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to discredit the art of it. I'm just saying it's still kind of popcorn entertainment. I could ask why Michael Bay decided to put Constructicon balls in my face at the theater. I can ask that question.
There's an easy answer to that.
Sure, but but I can still ask that question, Gabe. So you can't make the you can make the argument. What I'm saying is you can. It's totally fine. I'm just saying I don't think there's really a higher calling for this show. I think it's just I think it's just fun. It's just supposed to be fun, ultimately.
People who seek the deeper meaning in this show, I don't see the deeper meaning being there. I see the goal of Lynch as making people seek a deeper meaning in his work.
He's trying to raise an emotion out of you. He's trying to have a little fun.
He's trying
with
to
you.
Start a conversation.
He's also trying to entertain you. I think he is just trying to entertain you. I think that's fine.
And I think in all those respects he succeeds.
But it's different than some of his other work. When I think of him as the great filmmaker, this is very different to me. This is just a very he's just fucking with us.
It's more self-indulgent, absolutely.
Anyway.
Absolutely. But a lot of people love to see him be self-indulgent.
No, I'm not discrediting
because
that
nobody
at all.
does it like him.
I just feel I want to make some of those points clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Let's carry on.
Let's carry on, yes.
Unless you want to talk Dre Diamatteo some more. I mean, I would love to. That was a callback. That's called comedy,
wasn't willing
kids.
to do 5 years. I thought she fucking loved me.
Anyway.
With the strange power source shut off, the room appears to be far more normal. No weird fuzzy focus, no time skips, no sickly purple hue. Cooper passes a table adorned by a vase with a single blue rose in it. I do want to touch on the significance of the blue rose real quick. Do you remember anything about it from previous appearances?
Oh, no. I was just honestly just because you just said it earlier. I don't.
So
remember.
in Fire Walk with Me, the scene at the airport where the sour-faced woman is giving signals to Agent Chester Desmond. She's touching her nose and...
Okay.
So he explains to Kiefer later how this is all code. That Gordon uses the ladies' pantomimes for code and everything, right?
I remember that, okay.
The woman was wearing a corsage that featured a blue rose on it.
Okay, interesting. All right.
So this does connect to other plot points that are explained in detail later on.
No, I
I
get
will
that.
tell
I
you
mean,
that much.
it's funny because like some of his stuff he has points for, and some of the stuff he gives you is like never returns. You know. So
Yes, and it's hard to know what's what, but I'll give you a little bait on the hook there. That one comes back
okay.
in a satisfying way.
Okay.
Um, Cooper sees another woman in a red dress on the couch, but as she turns around, we see that this one has the countenance of an adult Ronette Pulaski. Look at her.
She also got
Yeah.
eyes. She also got eyes. She's not.
Pacific. Yeah, not blind. And it's a familiar face once again. She looks at a digital watch on her left wrist, and we see the time turn from 2:52 to 2:53.
253. It came back. Yay!
Circling back. At that instant, a lamp on a table turns on. On the wall next to it is the same strange large outlet we saw before, but now the number inscribed above it is a 3. Electricity crackles as the camera zooms in on the outlet before we cut to Mr. C driving down the roads of South Dakota as the same hum of electricity is buzzing in his car or in his brain.
He's been driving a long time because he was driving in the last episode. He's driving now. He's been driving.
Driving across the whole state.
Or maybe this is happening like a blink of an eye. You know.
Hard for us to tell, isn't it?
Mm.
We zoom in on the clock on his dash. It is also set to 2:53. Mr. C appears to begin feeling ill as electricity buzzes even louder from the cigarette lighter outlet in the car dashboard.
The sensation he's feeling is the quickening. Because there can be only
There
one.
can be only one.
And which is actually,
There can be only one.
I guess, honestly, in this scene is technically correct because what plays out is wild, but then there can be only one.
Interesting connection. Or can there?
Well,
Because suddenly there's 3, but we'll get to that in a second.
and then there's only 2.
Yes. They narrow it down after a while.
Pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly. Yes, after a while is a bad choice of phrase there. I do want to say really quickly that Christopher Lambert has one of the most bizarre accents I've heard anyone speak English, and it's just weird. No disrespect.
What a treasure to
It's
have,
weird.
though. You know,
Highlander.
Lambert. Isn't that Lambert?
Lambert. Also Fortress. Did you ever see Fortress?
I've not seen Fortress.
Interesting film.
I'll watch it. I've always wanted to watch it. What's the other one that Bigelow did with Angela Bassett? Strange Days. Isn't he in Strange? No, that's Ray Fiennes.
No, that's Ray Fiennes. Yeah.
Never mind.
I never saw that one.
That's supposed to be good
I didn't
too.
realize Fortress was a Bigelow film.
No, I don't think Fortress is.
Oh. Why did you bring her up then?
Well, because Strange Days is a Bigelow film.
How does that connect?
Well, I thought that he was in that film, but then I just said, no, it's not him. I just
So they don't connect at all.
Exactly, Gabe. Like this conversation with Twin Peaks.
With Twin Peaks. Good episode tonight, folks. We're having fun here. Anybody in the chat enjoying this?
We have a couple views, but no one's saying anything.
Great. We must be entertaining, man. I'm losing my place again. I was driving South Dakota, feeling ill, cigarette lighter. Back in the strange room, Cooper draws near to the outlet, finding that he begins to evaporate into smoke the closer he gets. He pulls back in shock, eyes wide, and looks back toward Ronette, who tells him in the infamous reverse speak, "When you get there, you will already be there." In the real world, Mr. C dazedly, in the real physical.
I was actually hoping they wouldn't do the reverse speak here. I was hoping they'd do something different, but oh well.
More chirping sounds.
I don't know, something.
I mean, I think it's just like what our ears can, like kind of like that game Control. the sounds you hear from, I forget what the term of the game is, but like that the communication that you get from the alien forces in that, like it's as close as we can understand. And I feel like that's that. It's like because of the way these entities interpret time, they can only speak English in a time that's inverse because they're speaking at us from the future or something.
So just because okay, sure, and then just because
Watch Tenet,
no,
everybody.
I know.
Great film.
So just because we're probably never ever going to come back to this fucking set or anything, I could be wrong. But I'm going to assume we're never going to come back to this. My assumption is that the skin covered eyes lady reset it, and then he went back in and it reset. That's why there's a new person in there. Is that the going thought, or it's just?
My thoughts involve spoilers.
Oh, so does it come back again? Does it come back to play in the?
Not full series spoilers, but episode spoilers.
Okay.
So I'm gonna once we get a little further on,
okay,
I'll explain what I think it is.
All right.
In the physical real world, Mr. C dazedly continues to struggle to control his car. In the room at the fireplace, the pounding on the metal door begins anew, and Ronette tells Cooper, "You'd better hurry. My mother is coming."
So then her mother was coming before, or that different lady's mother. Is my assumption.
Are they the same lady?
No. I don't know. What I'm saying is they're not the same lady, but like the
Are they
mother.
sisters?
It doesn't matter. There's a person coming. I just thought.
But yeah, whoever is pounding on the door is apparently the mother of.
You know what's funny? I didn't take it as pounding on the door.
What did you take it as?
I took it as like someone like coming downstairs, and it was just shaking the whole house or the whole.
I mean,
room.
they cut to shots of the door with dents in it.
I know they count to it. Does it get dents?
Yeah,
it doesn't look like
you
it.
see dents in the door.
Dark. It's so dark, and it's just like
this is why you need to be watching it on a high def TV.
No.
You need color tuning to watch this.
No, I just think it was just. I mean, it looks clear enough. It just looks
no.
Like
the implication I get
someone's
from
pounding on the door.
Someone is trying to get in through a locked door by trying to knock it down. Like this is a malevolent entity trying to force their way into the room. Like given the way the blind woman reacts, Ronette doesn't seem to react with as much urgency, but she tells Cooper, you better be gone when she gets in here, is what she's saying.
There's nobody. Besides, you can just go outside and hit the lever again and she'll be gone.
Or jump out into the purple sea and you might just find yourself falling into a glass cube in New York again. Who knows?
There you go.
But that's not the choice that Cooper makes. What Cooper does is he makes his way toward the outlet. And once again, he begins dissolving into the smoke, but this time he lets it take him all the way.
The outlet said a number 3 on it.
I did not forget that. I said that earlier.
I don't remember you saying it.
It was part of my notes. I definitely read it.
It might have been on your notes, but I don't remember you saying it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, pretty sure I did.
Pizza.
But there will be.
Okay, I'm gonna go back. If whoever.
I mean, we've got viewers. They can tell you.
Come on, viewers. Viewers like you.
I'll go back to that part of my notes.
I don't remember, so I apologize.
Yes, here it is. The same, when he talks about the lamp, or the lamp on a table turns on. It's the same strange large outlet we saw, but now the number inscribed above it is number 3. Yeah, definitely in the notes there.
There you go. All right.
So, Cooper makes his way toward the outlet, dissolves into smoke, and he's drawn into it, kind of like fed into it like a sheet of paper into a printer, would be the best way for me to describe that. Just very rigid and very straight, but with like a little hint of vibration. Only his shoes being left behind as Ronette looks on.
I feel like the shoe thing is not in continuity with what's going on here. I feel like the shoe thing was just David Lynch at the last minute being like, it'd be funny if his shoes didn't go through.
Well, again, we'll talk about this in a little bit. I have a theory for that as well, but we need a few more examples to cite before I put it out there. Back in South Dakota, Mr. C finally loses control of his car, wiping out as he drives up the side of a hill and flips the vehicle over, before coming to rest halfway in the middle of the road, back on the wheels. Still struggling with some otherworldly illness that appears to be emanating from his dashboard cigarette lighter, Mr. C covers his mouth and tries hard not to vomit. He looks out the window and sees red drapes slowly fading into his field of vision.
Get out of here, Mr. C. Get out of here. This is like endless right now. Get out of here.
If only.
If only.
If only, but instead we get an abrupt cut to a welcoming sign in a new-looking subdivision by the name of Rancho Rosa.
Oh, I wonder who that is.
Funny coincidence that. Anybody paying attention to those opening credits?
It comes up again. RR.
It comes up often.
I'm sure it does, but I noticed another one in this episode.
Oh, you might have to point that one out to me.
Okay.
These McMansions appear to be planted in some suburb in a desert climate. And to one of the houses with a for sale sign in the front yard. 2 cars are parked in the driveway, a yellow Jeep and a silver sedan. Inside we see another Cooper. This one has a slightly different appearance. Shaggy,
slightly
70s.
Different partner too. Oh my god, that's not the first thing you notice. I know, but the first thing you notice, Gabe, you got to get to the first thing you notice.
You got to quit interrupting me if we want to finish this episode.
We're never going to finish this episode, dude. God, it's not even 9 yet.
Not even 9 yet. But I'm almost done with my drink. Inside, this other Cooper has a slightly different appearance, 70s style shaggy brownish hair, and Wolfman sideburns. He's also being cuddled by a nude black woman who refers to him as Dougie and asks him what's wrong with his arm, which appears to have gone numb. Everybody's tingly.
I mean, he was doing a lot of work and then it just went dead.
Dude, yeah. Hey, I'm not going to lie. She'd make me tingly, too.
She is beautiful. Yeah, no.
She is. It would seem that the woman is a sex worker, as she claims a wad of hundreds from Dougie's dead left hand before going to wash up. On that left hand, we see a familiar ring bearing the jade stone carved with the Owl Cave symbol. Bum, bum, bum. With his one good arm, Dougie puts on an appalling mustard-colored sport coat before also falling violently ill and collapsing to his hands and knees. Cut back to Mr. C, still fighting back his own chunks as those red drapes keep attempting to materialize. Or to make him dematerialize. Who knows? Tough to say here.
I just want to say as a pervert, like when she left the room, you didn't really get to see her butt, and then it cuts to her walking down the hallway, and you get to see her butt. It's pretty nice. And they keep cutting back to her.
Really?
They keep cutting back to her quite a bit, and you get to see her in the shower and stuff. I'm just all saying this because it's all not necessary. But
yeah, completely unnecessary. The only reason to have that shot of her walking down the hall is to show you her naked butt.
There's a lot of nudity here for her, and I'm just like, I appreciate it, I get it, I love it. I'm a dude, but at the same time, I was just like, I could have done all of that without any of that. I don't know why this was necessary. Like, do you really feel like it was necessary?
I mean, unless I'm mistaken, this is the first black woman we've ever seen in a Twin Peaks series.
Oh, that's...
And
so we need to show
this
all
is
of
how
her,
she's introduced.
just to let the white people know that they look the same as us. I guess I don't know what the fuck. I don't like what.
Hey, that's a great argument. I like that. Let's go with it.
This, oh my
Let's
God.
go with it.
Jesus.
Underneath our clothes, we're really all the
same
shape, right?
Jesus. Anyway,
that's a positive message, Ian. Sex positive. We like it. We like it.
I don't know. Anyway, beautiful woman. Yeah. Anyway,
beautiful. Yeah. Dougie crawls his way toward the bathroom where the sex worker is showering, but she's locked the door.
Can we call her Jade? We don't have to like keep. I mean, I get it.
We don't have her name yet.
Oh, we don't. Okay.
We don't know it for a long time.
Okay, fine. Sorry.
I mean, I struggled with that in the notes. But,
oh, did you? Okay. Is it important? Do you think?
I mean, I just trying to keep it in the theme of what we know.
I apologize. I didn't mean to ruin it.
Yeah.
Keep calling her a sex worker.
No. And I'm not. I did avoid calling her a prostitute. I understand that's an unsavory term these days. So
I love the word prostitute.
I don't have a lot of other thesaurus words for sex worker. So from what I understand, that's the term they prefer.
Lady of the night.
A lady of the night.
So this is middle of the day, but
yeah, this is daytime. A practitioner of the world's oldest profession.
Yeah.
You can interrupt, just not as often.
I thought this was poignant because it fit my hypothesis about the whole women being kind of treated shitty in David Lynch stuff. Anyway, all right, continue on.
I'll allow it.
Objection sustained.
Passes mustard. Dougie crawls his way back into the empty living room of the vacant home, where he also begins to see the red drapes, before he upchucks a pile of something chunky and bloody.
Yeah, that was rough. Ooh.
Yeah. There's a bright flash of light and a loud clap of thunder, loud enough for the woman in the shower to be startled, and Dougie is violently yanked backward out of view, and perhaps out of existence. From the driver's seat of his wrecked car, Mr. C now sees a vision of Dougie sitting in a chair in the red room, and the drapes fade away.
This is my favorite practical scene right here. Just this is hilarious.
Yeah. The debilitating electricity persists, however, and Mr. C finally vomits up a noxious torrent of creamed corn, blood, and some kind of black fluid before losing consciousness.
This is wild. It's just like hilarious. It's just like I could. It's so funny.
You can't really do like.
The one that happens to Dougie when he pukes is pretty grotesque. It's like aggressive, but like the one that happens to Mr. C in the car looks pretty hilarious. And there's some shots of it that's just like, oh, I can just see it. Just like he's trying to cover it, but it's like literally just a tube that's just like shooting shit out of his mouth.
Right,
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, because the idea is to make this one way more violent and forceful,
right. But it also looks to me it looks more comedic because it doesn't look. It looks like something's literally coming out of a tube.
Nobody pukes like this.
Yeah, right. Anyway.
Nobody pukes like this. But,
sure.
How else would we get actual vomit on camera, which is way more important to the context, right?
It's fine. It was so thick, Gabe. It was so thick.
It was.
It looked like something that
like these guys not chew their food or what?
It almost looked like it was like if his mouth was a human cocking machine or something. Like it was so fucking thick. I mean, anyway.
I was gonna say that the stuff that Dougie coughed up
that was brutal.
Looked like the same kind of shit that when I lived with Noah and we had the cat who would get these horrific hairballs because he was a Maine Coon, and he would always there was food in front of the hairballs.
Right.
So there was always this huge pile of undigested food along with the hairball. And that's what Dougie's pile looked like to me.
There was even some red in Dougie's pile. It made me feel like he was coughing coughing up like a fucking organ or some shit. That was pretty gnarly. That one was really effective. So anyway.
Yeah. I felt like, they both gave you the impression of this is not just the food they had. This is metaphysical vomit.
They were soul coughing.
Yeah. Super bun bun, super bun bun. In the red room, Dougie is greeted by a silent and impassive Mike. I feel funny, he says, before Mike informs him that someone has manufactured him for a purpose which appears to have now been fulfilled. Baffled, Dougie turns to look at his hand, his left hand specifically, which has now begun to shrink. That's weird, he comments, before the ring falls off his diminished finger and his head explodes into a small cloud of black smoke, from which a golden orb arises in the air. Dougie's empty clothes collapse in the chair, and some flat gray shape resolves itself into a fleshy blob, from which the golden orb again bursts forth as Mike shields his eyes from a bright flash of light. The two objects appear to fight each other, and eventually only the gold orb, much smaller now, the size of a bead, is all that remains in the chair where Dougie sat. Mike picks up the ring and the bead, placing the ring at the top of a black marble table that sits on a golden pedestal.
Yep.
Anything you want to make of this right now?
I think that scene is exactly what he wanted you to see, and it pretty much explains himself. It's like some kind of clone thing, and for the purpose to keep Mr. C out there in the world. So, I have nothing of note to really. I think he's really actually just giving you. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking weird and stupid and crazy and dumb. I was hoping at the very beginning, like when he was sitting there.
I'd say it's a very comic book twist.
Oh, sure.
Cloning yourself to trap your good soul.
Mr. C said he had something prepared to deal with this situation, so I just figured that
True enough.
This makes sense. But I was thinking like when you were just seeing the left hand kind of start shrinking, I was wondering if he become another person, but with just out an arm like Mike. But that didn't happen. So
no. So this ties back to the outlet, the big outlet in the weird purple room.
Oh yeah.
My theory is that was just another layer of Mr. C's trap. That if he'd have gone in the outlet when it was labeled 15, it would have just like destroyed Cooper's soul then and there.
Oh, really?
That's kind of my theory, because that's what the blind woman seemed to. Yeah, don't go in there now. You go in there now, you're gonna fucking die.
Okay.
So then she went in and shut off the power and sacrificed herself in the process.
This adds to my theory some more about that, then, because I have more to talk about this. Well, we have to wait to that moment when I can talk about it.
Okay. But yeah, you see where I'm going with that.
No, I get that 100%.
Yeah, because like I'm thinking, what would have happened to Cooper if he'd have gone into the outlet when it said 15?
Sure, yeah.
It have fucked him up. But when he goes into it when it's 3,
it's not the first number. It wasn't the first number. Yeah.
Right. Returning to the vacant home, we see a 4-way outlet and the mountain of puke that Dougie left behind. A black smoke begins to blow out from the outlet, and eventually Cooper's body materializes on the floor, fully suited but shoeless.
I was really curious about this. Like, okay, I get what's going on right now. Where are they going to place Cooper? Are they going to place him over the puke? In the puke? Where are they going to put him?
Right beneath the puke.
Right beneath it.
The sex worker returns to the room, briefly questioning Dougie's change in appearance and wondering if he's sick when she sees the puke. Cooper/Dougie offers no response to the woman's questions and continues to remain motionless on the floor. Eventually, they have somehow made their way to the front door, although the woman notices that, we're just going to call him Dougie from now on, has left his shoes behind. He's clearly not all the way Cooper right
Yeah,
now.
he's like a fish out of water, and this is all kind of played for comedy. I think this is all just kind of this kind
Yeah,
of yeah.
yeah,
What am I?
yeah. Um, it's I've read these theories that like, Cooper's soul has been trapped outside of a body for so long that now that he's back in one, he doesn't know how to make it work.
Is that what I was thinking? That like maybe it would just at a certain point in the show they would explain it like it just kind of he just kind of fully wakes up, but he's still in just. But whatever.
I
I
mean,
was just going right now with like the fact that like he just did something traumatic and his brain's maybe is in kind of in a coma right now.
yeah, without saying too much, the way I always thought of this, even on my first viewing, was that yeah, this is some a person trying to pilot a vehicle that they haven't been behind the wheel of in a long time, and it takes some time to get used to that and to find that synchrony again.
As a writer, I call that a plot device. Is what I'm going to go with. Anyway.
And you would be correct to label it as such.
Anyway, carry on.
Anyway. When he continues to make no response, she offers to get the shoes for him. He comically follows her back into the house. The woman seems mildly frustrated by Dougie's lack of communication, but not so frustrated that she won't put the guy's shoes on for him. Inquiring about Dougie's keys, the woman then reaches into his pockets for him to find a hotel key, specifically the key to room 315
And
of the
there we
Great
are.
Northern Hotel in Twin Peaks,
And
Washington.
there we are, Gabe. Because what are the two numbers that we got from this last thing? We got a 15 and a 3. The first
Mhm.
number is the 3. And I gotta believe that has something to do with it. Like that's just the dumb Lynch shit. Like you can't enter back into your room at 15. You got to enter at the first number, the 3. So like that's just my stupid. And we're gonna see this key again, and it plays in quite a bit. And I don't know how much, if it does later on in the episode, or I mean the series. But like 315 is apparent. Like I would have called this episode 315, honestly. But
Isn't that one of the things that the giant says to him?
I don't know. I know he does the 253 thing. I don't know if he does the 315.
Is it 253 or 315 as well?
He
I
does
don't
the
remember.
253. I don't remember him doing the
Mm.
315. I think it was 253.
Was it just 253 and Richard and
I
Linda?
think the
Those were the only
315
things?
thing is literally just. Anyway, that was just what I was taking from this. Like,
Yeah.
anyway, so this episode is littered with 315, but also
Honestly,
253.
yeah. I didn't even notice that connection between the numbers above the outlets and the key number, to be honest with you. So I'm glad you pointed that out because, yeah, I don't think that's coincidental.
I don't think it is either. I think it is for this, but I mean, also could be also easily discarded because I don't know. You've seen the episodes, and maybe it never rears its ugly head ever again. But it is something that I noticed. Like, oh, that's the same numbers, really.
Mm.
Anyway,
The woman who finally refers to herself in the third person as Jade sees her annoyance grow as she realizes that she's going to have to chauffeur Dougie to wherever he's going since his car keys are nowhere to be found. Apparently, they've dissolved into a green bead, or golden bead.
correct.
As the two pull away in Jade's yellow Jeep, they pass a fancy red Camaro, which pulls over in front of the house they just left. It contains some shady-looking character straight out of GTA, who radios ahead to his bearded and ponytailed compatriot in another car, awaiting them at the entrance. Meanwhile, Jade is offering Dougie some advice on how to get himself out of his current situation. As they pass a sign for Sycamore Street, A flash of recognition appears in Dougie's eyes, and he's finally able to speak, echoing the woman's words from earlier. Zaid gives 2 rides. He then retrieves the hotel key from his pocket and examines it a little closer, losing it from his grip as Jade hits a speed bump. He bends down underneath the dash to retrieve it, conveniently putting him out of view of bearded Ponytail, who has suddenly armed himself with a wicked-looking rifle. Dougie's got enemies, it would seem.
Yeah, Dougie's fucking doing work.
Yeah. Ponytail radios back to his cohort, name of Gene, and tells him that Dougie was not in the Jeep. Gene assumes this to mean that Dougie is still inside the house and plants some kind of device on the underside of Dougie's car, which is still in the driveway. In the house across the street, a young boy watches Gene's actions through the window blinds, as his mother, we assume, exhibiting clear signs of drug abuse, mutters 119 over and over again before downing a pill with a generous helping of whiskey, then lighting a cigarette with a small acetylene torch as the boy listlessly munches saltines on the couch.
Now, in backwards speed,
blah, blah,
that's 911. So
that's correct, Ian.
It's interesting that she's so fucked up that she lives in this fucked up Black Lodge world, that she's backwards speaking. Not that she really is backwards speaking, but like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I get what they're trying to do here. I think maybe it's trying to say something about this. We don't know. I don't know. You might know. So my assumption is she's so fucked up. She's doing all this shit to exist in this kind of fucked up world, and so she's yelling these things backwards. But it's also funny because then what comes in the next scene, you know, with cops and anyway, it's interesting.
So yeah, kind of close to that. Like the reason, like because of how fucked up she is somehow able to tangentially reach this world,
right?
That senses danger, and so yeah, she's getting this warning that there is danger nearby, and this is how her brain is interpreting that signal in reverse and as, you know, a numerical sign for emergency.
But then it cuts to the next scene, which you're going to get to, but the cops show up at the crash site. So it's just kind of funny, like, oh, that's kind of a fun... I get what you're trying to do there. It's connected.
It's all connected.
It's silly, but it's connected.
But it's fun, right?
I mean,
so yeah, what Ian's referring to is that South Dakota Highway Patrol has pulled up on Mr. Cia's vehicle. One trooper approaches the driver's side while the other waits behind. As he gets to the window, the first trooper suddenly retches violently and collapses to his hands and knees.
I found this pretty funny. I find this pretty fucking funny.
Yeah. The second trooper barely gets a step closer to the car before he backs off and radios dispatch to send backup with gas masks. He helps the first trooper away from the car, but the poor guy seems to really be struggling to recover.
Yeah.
So, is it Garmon Boja? Like, is this something that isn't meant to exist in the physical realm?
I mean, I take a shit every day, and some of those shits, I don't think they belong in the physical realm, Gabe. So.
Yeah, but do you take them out of your mouth?
I mean, you can shit. I think you puke. I think you can potentially puke worse things than you shit. So, I don't know. I mean, whatever.
Not in my experience. But
listen, Gabe, I don't. I think this is all done for just comedic. Like no one's gonna come back to this scene and be like, "Oh man, we fucking looked at the fucking puke from this fucking." Maybe I'm wrong, but like I don't think there's gonna be like, is there gonna be a hot chick who like is CSI in the puke? I don't think so. Like
that's really what I'm hoping for. I'm not gonna.
That's what you're hoping for, but that's not happening. I think we just move on. I think we just move on down the road.
You may be right. I may be crazy. But it just may be a lunatic you're looking for. Segue to another law enforcement team, the gang of the Twin Peaks Sheriff's Department. I think that's the first time we've actually been in Twin Peaks this episode.
Yes, correct.
Hawk puts a clever sign on the door before sitting at the table with a box of donuts and a jug of coffee from the R&R diner.
I'm so happy to see donuts return to Twin Peaks.
We never actually see donuts. We just see a box.
We saw a picture of a donut on the sign. I'm okay with that. Donut.
Not an actual donut,
disturbed.
though. Not a real donut.
Oh, my God. Okay, so here just before you get started, I noted this right away. R&R, RR, something. Like numbers.
Rancho Rosa. Okay.
But Rancho Rosa. So that was my. I was like, oh yeah, there's RR again. So anyway,
there you go. Continue. Andy and Lucy have laid out all the evidence they have pertaining to Agent Cooper, and we spend some time debating the semantics of the word missing as the trio puzzle over the log lady's latest riddle. I am 100% certain that this is Ian's least favorite scene of the episode.
No, I actually enjoy this scene quite a bit. I love Hawk's white hair. I did roll my eyes at the scene and some of the dialogue choices in it, but I like watching the original crew.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna be nostalgic about, I mean, I obviously I've seen all these episodes in the last year, so it's not really a nostalgia thing, but yeah, no, watching this is oh, I miss you guys. I like seeing you guys. You guys are some of the shittiest dialogue I've ever, but sure, okay, we can have fun.
But they're able to deliver it in a way that still makes it entertaining.
But I really like Hawk. I mean, I wish Hawk was like the superhero of this episode, like the whole series. I just wish he was just ta-da, Hawk, ta-da. I just wish he was I would I think he seems like a great fucking actor, and I would have saddled him with so much work on this series. I would have been anyway, that's where I'm at.
I do feel like he carries a little bit more of the burden than was intended originally.
But he should. He's a better actor than what's his name? Sheriff.
Than Truman?
Truman. I think
Michael Ontkean.
Oh my God, dude. I think, I get it, but I just think Hawk could be. That's why when I watch him and I look at him, he looks great on film. And then he's a good actor, and I just man, I would have just used him way more. I would have that would have been a love letter. I would if I was David Lynch, I would have just focused. I would have just done a lot more of him. Anyway, because Twin Peaks is basically a side note so far in this fucking thing. It's just okay, we got to do this thing. All right, here's our tie-in to what else is going on. But what?
Yeah, it's whatever. in the return. Twin Peaks is a bit more of just a piece of the puzzle rather than the box the puzzle is kept in.
I would hope that it would be the answer. I would have made it the answer. They figured it out, the answer, and they go out and they figured it out. Because I think Hawk is worthy of that as a character, but clearly not. Anyway.
I will say that Hawk gets plenty of stuff to sink his teeth into
for the
rest of the season.
I'm sure hope so. I think so.
Maybe not to the degree that you would hope, but for me, Hawk is the one who, he does seem like the beacon of wisdom. And I don't want to, sound racist, but that's always that's a very typical trope of Native American characters, is that they have this. They're possessed of this inner wisdom that the white man simply doesn't acknowledge because he lacks the harmony with earth and spirit. In a white man
show, they're supposed to give guidance, but they can't do the thing because they're not allowed in a white man show to do it.
They're just a spiritual advisor.
In my show, I would have let him fail. I would have let him do more things. I would have done all that. I think he's such an interesting looking figure, and with that white hair, I don't know, man. I think visually, that's some shit. I would just that's what I would have gone with, man. 100%. And somehow, even David Lynch as Gordon with his white hair, if you could have two white hairs, kind of like then they team up and do some shit. I think that would have been way more fun. All this other shit they got going on. I mean, we haven't gotten to her yet, but that chick that they have in the FBI, she's kind of hot. But what I'm saying is, I think, I'm Native American technically as a Hawaiian. I'm gonna represent for my. I think Hawk should have just fucking. I wish he would have just like been like kind of the hero. Anyway. All right.
Well, I don't think you'd find many Twin Peaks fans who disagree with you. I think Hawk is a universally beloved character. And yeah, 100%. I'm a fan of his for sure. The name of the actor is Michael Horse. And to be perfectly honest, the only thing I ever remember seeing him in was a one-off guest appearance in a Malcolm in the Middle episode. So, if I remember right, the premise is Francis and his friends steal a totem pole.
Oh, so
and have an existential crisis and feel very guilty about it. Return it to the home with this huge apology, and Michael Horse, who plays the homeowner, is just like, no, it's not. It's not an ancient artifact. This is something I carved with my kids last summer.
Gotcha.
So it's a fun. I mean, he gets to kind of deliver the punchline of the whole scene. So he's also been a very, very big advocate for Native Americans and accurate representation in the media. So, yeah, I would encourage you to Google him and see the work that he's done. He's a stand-up guy.
All right, Gabe, I want to propose something for you.
What's that?
We're going to let this continue streaming on, but I will cut it and edit it for the podcast. I need to take a fat piss. You need to make yourself another drink.
You're absolutely right.
So we're going to, hey, everyone,
right.
Everyone watching,
intermission.
Hang out for a bit. We're taking a little bit of an intermission, but we got to refresh. So that's my
so
plan
why don't
here.
you go take a leak, go make yourself a drink, go pack yourself a bowl if you live in a legal state. I do not advocate for illegal behavior. We'll be right back. So, I know I'm still on the audio feed here. We'll get this on record for posterity. I am going to go ahead and mix up my super secret Manhattan recipe. So let's get some ice to mix in and some ice for the glass, because I like my Manhattans on the rock. That's just me. Your mileage may vary in that regard. So generally what we want to do is 2 parts bourbon to 1 part vermouth. I'm sorry, not bourbon, whiskey. Specifically in this case, we are going with Bullet Rye. All right, so we've got 2 ounces of rye whiskey, 1 ounce vermouth. Tonight's brand is Martini and Rossi. This is just a store-bought brand. It's nothing fancy. Now here is Uncle Gabe's secret ingredient. This is Fee Brothers Black Walnut Bitters. I am always generous with that in the mix. All right, so you add your preferred number of dashes of bitters. Stir vigorously. And now we're going to strain into our serving glass, which for me is a low ball, just for practicality's sake. Typical garnish for Manhattan is a cherry. The brand I am using is Peninsula Premium. I purchased them off of Amazon, but they appear to be a Michigan-based company. And there you go. That's Gabe's secret Manhattan recipe. Make your own at home. Let me know how they turn out. Jesus, that is a long piss for Ian. But after these messages, we'll be right back to Blanket the Fart.
Hoo-wee. Hoo-wee.
Feel better?
Oh, my God. We definitely have people like, hey, listeners, watchers. You don't want to talk about us?
Hey,
Behind our
at least I
backs?
made content while you were pissing.
I mean, you know, I
I,
still
I
haven't.
gave everyone
I still
I
haven't.
gave everyone my secret Manhattan recipe.
Do you not remember us recording your secret Manhattan recipe?
It's been refined.
Oh, it's been refined.
And that
So
was a
I
whiskey
never.
sour.
Oh, well, okay, never mind. That was whiskey sour. Okay, well, we'll have to do that someday too. But I still have to release that. I should have released that over the holidays as a buffer
You
thing.
never released
It's
the
still
whiskey
just
sour
it's just
mixing video?
sitting there. I meant to do it, and then I just never did. And then I came across the other day. It's like, oh shit, I never put this out. So I should put it out one of these days when we don't have if we have to take a break or do something.
Yeah, when we take a week off, you can share that.
And then we should one of these days do your Manhattan recipe. I know you just gave it, but we're gonna cut that out.
Well, it was only verbal.
Oh yeah, see, we need
it was only
visual,
verbal.
We need the visual version. All right, we're back at it.
We're back at it. Where did we leave off? We're examining the evidence.
You were like,
"Oh,
this is going to be the scene that you don't like the most," and I was like, "No, I liked it just fine."
All the dialogue over what missing means.
I mean, it was silly. This is a very cliche David Lynch silly scene. Yeah,
it is, but it's fun if you like that sort of thing. Lucy lets out an abrupt shriek as she comes to a sudden realization she knows what's missing. It's the bunny. She gestures to an old box of Easter chocolates among the evidence, part of the Laura Palmer case. She tearfully confesses to eating a piece of the evidence 25 years ago because she was suffering from gas and she heard that chocolate was a natural cure for this ailment. She then tries to connect the story back to the log lady's riddle by asking if the practice of using chocolate to alleviate gas pain might come from Native American culture. I laughed my ass off at this scene. I'm not going to lie. I had forgotten all about it.
I was really like, are we seriously going here? Is this seriously what? And then in my head, it's like, I look at Hawk and I'm just like thinking Hawk shit. In my head, I think Hawk just wants to murder them both, but yeah, he can't.
And he's been listening to 25 years of this.
Yeah, right.
Right?
You know what I also find? You know what's also funny that we haven't really. This is something I should have pointed out at the very beginning. When he puts that donut disturb sign on the front of the door, there's literally nobody in that parking lot. Like it does they do a shot at the very beginning of the establishing shot. There's nothing there. There's no cars or anything.
And Lucy's the receptionist, so right. Who the hell's going to direct them to where they need to go?
It's just kind of funny.
I kind of, I just thought to myself, a good writing exercise would be what did Andy and Lucy get Hawk for Christmas? But it occurred to me that it was probably that sign.
That's funny.
So maybe that was part of the, writer's room exercise.
Part of me feels like, I think Andy's still about the same dumb, but I feel like Lucy's a little bit more dumb.
It does kind of feel like that, doesn't it?
She's a bit more dumb. I feel like she was a bit more wiser in the I mean, she was eccentric.
She had a little bit more practical knowledge. Right. Although we do remember she kind of struggled to transfer calls still. So
I would struggle.
But yeah, too. She does. She seems a little spacier here than she did in the past. And I don't know if that's just, again, ramped up for comedic value or
because
what,
they're not giving him much, so they just let him. This is what it's going to be, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, Hawk, after some hemming and hawing, firmly decides that, quote, it's not about the bunny. Is it about the bunny? No. It's not about the bunny.
It probably is, though. We all saw Donnie Darko.
I need to watch that movie again, man. That movie blew my mind.
All right. What's next?
Hey, so what's Dr. Jacoby going to do with all those shovels anyway?
He's going to spray paint them.
I'm glad you asked.
It's been so long. That was the very first. Wasn't that the first thing we did?
Yeah, it's been 2 episodes. Come on, it hasn't been that long.
3rd episode.
I mean, it feels like it given the pacing, but
there was a dark and a night and a day and a dark. Anyway, somehow he's created a contraption.
I'm glad you brought it up like that, because if you think of it in terms of pacing as a film, yeah, been a long time since we revisited that scene.
Anyway. He created a contraption, obviously, to paint shovels. So super cool.
He got himself an elaborate pulley system rigged to operate with foot pedals. Some sort of Rube Goldberg invention.
You know what's stupid about
wielding a can of spray paint.
You know what's stupid about this sequence, Gabe? It's like I sat there and I started thinking like, yeah, well, I started thinking like, how would I shoot this? Like, does he actually have control over that, or is someone else controlling this? And when they said action, did he just start spray painting? Like, I really started thinking about, like, this is such a dumb thing, and I just started thinking about, like, how they shot it. Just, like, it was very dumb. Because, like, you know, he only has a can of paint.
Like, he got a lot of mileage out of that one can.
Did they have multiple shovels, and did they do multiple takes with different cans? I don't know. Like, I would have been like, anyway. I really started to think about it. I was just like, so stupid.
Jacoby is very responsible, wearing all the necessary protective gear, albeit with his bizarre 2-tone glasses underneath the mask. Jade's yellow. That's all we got.
Another 20 episodes, and we'll find out what he does with the shovels, I guess, guys. I mean, Gabe knows.
Do we?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are you sure?
We're never going to come back.
Do you have confidence that we get
I hope we, you know what? At the very least, I hope we cut back to see them drying.
Just a still shot of the rack, swaying a little bit in the breeze.
Yeah, that's it.
Hear a bird chirping in a tree in the distance.
Yeah. And
then we're in Las Vegas.
Yes, 100%.
Speaking of Las Vegas, we get the big reveal that that's where Dougie lives as Jade's yellow Jeep pulls up to the Silver Mustang Casino. Jade leaves Dougie with a 5 spot and instructions to call for help. Probably a doctor or something, since it looks like he's had a stroke. She tells Dougie, "You can go out now," causing him to have a flashback to a vision of Laura Palmer telling him the same thing in the Red Room.
So Gabe is already, I think, pre the show, he told me that Jade never shows up again. But I just want to say right now that the joke about, like, you know, that Jay gave him 2 rides, you know, Dougie 2 rides, I think it would be a great thing that, like, later down the road is like, I just need another ride. You know, I think that's a joke that pays off. I think like I need a 3rd ride.
Like suddenly they find themselves without a vehicle. They need to get somewhere.
And he hooks up Jay and he's like, I need a 3rd ride. I think that's
Dougie.
I think that's
what the hell are you doing here?
I need a 3rd ride, baby. I don't know. I just think that'd be a great callback joke. And I don't know. Gabe already.
And hey, yeah, the number above the outlet was 3, right?
Right. Anyway,
would totally work. It would totally work. I love that idea, and when we reshoot the whole series, we're going to incorporate that into it.
Anyway, you can because this is just a bizarre, crazy.
When we get to be old men in our 70s, we're going to film Twin Peaks over again with iPhones.
Yeah, just yeah. Anyway, this next sequence is just wildly weird and goofy. And go ahead.
I mean, this is one of the less weird things that happens in the episode,
no, but
anyway.
It's kind of funny. Anyway, it is weird.
Jade still has to physically push Dougie to get him out of the passenger seat. And then she leans over and closes the door behind him, telling her to forget about him. telling him to forget about her. Meanwhile, hilarity ensues as Dougie struggles to figure out how to work the revolving door. That's definitely a scene that went on way too long.
Don't tell me how long a scene should be.
Fuck.
You know what?
Honestly, I would say
I didn't
that
actually.
dragging on a scene like that works better in comedy.
I didn't actually mind that. I didn't.
That
I mean,
one
it went
works
on for
better,
too
yeah.
long. It went on too long, but I actually didn't mind this one for some reason. I was like,
That's what they call in comedy the immediate callback.
I was like fine with it.
Dougie eventually makes his way in and finds a security guard, offering him the $5 bill and repeating Jade's instructions, call for help. The guard rather unkindly directs him toward the cashier's booth to get change. Hey there, 80s kids. It's Evil Lynn. That's Meg Foster, the actress.
Oh, really?
You might also remember her from They Live. And if I remember right, she was the intimidated waitress in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Despite Dougie's communication skills being limited to repeating what he hears, the phrase call for help seems to have a much different effect on the cashier. She presses Dougie's cup of change firmly but warmly into his hands and kindly gestures him in the direction of the phone. A lot of adverbs in that sentence. I think I went overboard there.
I would like to say that, like, now that Jade's out of the picture, he's no longer Dougie. Because no one knows who he is.
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you?
But we know who he is.
Knowing what I know about the next episodes, we're going to continue to refer to him as Dougie.
Oh, does he take up that name? That mantle? Oh, great.
He takes up that life. Real quick, let's touch back on the fact.
What Nickelodeon show is Dougie in? Like, wasn't that a Dougie? Isn't there a Dougie show?
Doug. There's a Nickelodeon show called Doug. Yeah, a cartoon.
Anyway, okay.
A reminder that one of the reasons that Kyle MacLachlan was reluctant to sign on to Fire Walk with Me is because he didn't like the idea of coming back to Cooper. He felt like it would result in typecasting. So keeping that in mind, I really feel like the only reason that David Lynch was able to convince him to come back for this revival is the fact that he spends most of his time playing characters that aren't strictly Cooper.
I would also like to just point out Kyle MacLachlan, one of the most typecast actors of all time. Anyway.
How so? What kind of type?
That's sarcasm.
Oh. My bad. Yes, the dude has range. I did see a post on his Instagram today. Two Pauls having a conversation. I guess he got to sit down and have a drink with Timothée Chalamet.
Oh, the Chalamet.
Yeah.
The Chalamet.
So yeah, fascinating little meeting of the minds there. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that conversation. But Dougie does not find a phone. The flashing lights and the loud noises prove to be distracting, and instead he finds the slots. He watches one of the patrons operate a machine, pulling the lever a few times before he hits a 777 jackpot and utters a hearty hello as he celebrates his winnings.
That's fun. Okay. My understanding with this, when I was going into this, call for help, I thought call for help was a slot machine. I thought when he goes call for help and the guy goes in the back.
I think he meant the phone.
Maybe. But I could totally also see it being a slot machine. Because, like, if you're calling for help.
Who knows?
If you're call for help, like, he's literally a dude that's supposed to help you when you need help. And I understand that he's being kind of weird and mental. So my thought was, like, the guy was directing him to a slot machine called call for, and then you need to get coins before you can use it. Not.
Oh, That could be.
Not
Like, hey, where do I find the slots, brother?
yeah, like I'm looking for call for help. And it's like part of me
Yeah.
was like, I get it. I get what you're saying and I get that, but I was also just thinking like in my head it's like, oh, maybe he just like directed him to this call for help. And so like I was thinking like he'd be looking and then he finds the call for help slot machine and then he wins a bunch of money and then he becomes a problem. It goes differently than that, but it kind of is similar, but it's different. Anyway.
Yeah. That's an interesting theory. I like that. And the patron here, I forgot to write down or take note of the actor's name, but he's someone who's been a player in the comedy scene for a long time, since the 90s. He was a member of the Mr. Show ensemble. I will look him up when we get to post show here, but this was something I just discovered today or the last couple of days going over the notes. I didn't realize that this dude had a career. I thought this was just some random
So the
guy.
dude pulling the thing.
Yeah, whose only line is "Hello." A small vision of the Red Room hovering above one of the machines catches Dougie's eye. He makes his way over to the machine and operates it in the same way he saw demonstrated, complete with the "Hello."
You know what's funny about this little vision image? It looks like the little turban hat. I'm like when you
Like a
look at it.
fez?
Yes, when you look at it, when you know what it is, then you know it is. But from a distance, it looks like the little fez hat, and it's just like, what?
Yeah, the first time I watched this episode, I didn't recognize it as the drapes and the floor.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of saw it as like some bright flame, like clearly a marker, but I didn't at that point. I didn't see its connection to the Red Room.
Yeah, so like we were talking like we were talking like I was talking before about like the call call for help. Like when he's looking, I was hoping him when he pans over, then he would see the sign for call for help, and it'd be like this crazy ambulance guy hanging out of an ambulance, and like it's like a jackpot thing, and it's just like instead it's the fucking what it looks like a fez hat, and then when you see it closer, it's like, oh, it's the Red Room and the drapes. I was just like, oh, okay. It's like, why not just make it a lot? Why not just make it a game? Until then it keeps, because I haven't seen it before, it keeps playing out. But it was just like, oh, okay, interesting. Funny.
Yeah. Sure enough, Dougie hits the jackpot right away, to the admiration of a couple of surrounding patrons. You broke that one. You broke it real good.
Doesn't grab the coins, just moves on.
No, yeah. He doesn't stop for long, though, as he sees the same vision of the Red Room hovering above another slot machine a few rows away. The same actions yield the same results. Hello! This time with a decrepit and dirty-looking old woman observing him sourly.
Homeless lady.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, she's
A
homeless.
staff member arrives to let Dougie know that his winnings from the two jackpots total around $28,000.
He's rich.
Call for help, he tells her, which naturally she interprets to mean he's going to need a bucket for all those fucking quarters. Dougie sees the symbol again, this time on the machine directly to the left of the sour old woman. He points it out to her, but she gives him the finger and refuses to leave the machine that she's been working on all day. Not to worry, he sees 3 or 4 more slots with the vision hovering over them as he wanders off out of the area. While the staff search around trying to locate him, Dougie hits pay dirt on another machine, which at last convinces the sour old woman to switch to the one next to her. And sure enough, she hits the jackpot too. Hello!
I mean, this is just, that's just kind of silly comedy stuff that Lynch is throwing in there.
It's got a point, though.
Does it? With the old lady?
Kind of. Not necessarily the old lady,
Well,
but
I
him
think the
winning
old
at the
lady
slots.
winning is like a silly. just kind of offhand, like funny thing.
That's one of those rare little victories that you see in Lynch work.
We've seen a lot of
We
movies.
do
A
see,
lot of directors do that kind of shit. Like,
yeah.
oh, they
But
win
like Lynch in
something.
particular, he spends a lot more time examining human suffering than he does like human joy.
He's not examining her suffering at all. We see this decrepit lady, sure, but he's not
We assume her
examining her.
suffering from her appearance.
Yeah, but we're not examining her in any fucking way. This is very old school Hollywood bullshit. Like, something silly,
Rags to riches.
rags
Yeah.
to riches, or like there's like a young teenager and like a fucking Playboy model drops onto his bed or something. It's just like one of these like silly little things that happens that plays out. This is very old school. He's just kind of playing into that. It's for laughs, but yeah, this is like honestly very Spielberg moment, or a very fucking. It's very just. It's kind of funny that he actually plays into this, but that's fine. He does it. It's fine.
Yeah,
because it's not going to come up, right? It never comes back, right? There's not. She's never.
Which part?
The lady, the old lady. She doesn't come ever to play into this rest of the season, does she?
Does she?
Does she? I'm asking you. Oh my god. Okay, fine.
If I were to tell you,
let
that
me
would spoil
write.
things.
Let me write. So. I mean, you telling me that she doesn't really spoil it. You telling me that she doesn't also doesn't really spoil it, because I don't know how she would come back. Like, how would she come back? I don't know how she would come back. He's like
kind of a good question.
Anyway,
I'll let you continue to wonder about it.
All right, but I 100%. I'm going to say 100%. She doesn't come back.
Mark those words, folks.
Okay,
that's Ian's prediction.
Because Jade should come back, and if the old bitch comes back, that's like, no, that old bitch is not giving him a ride.
What if the old bitch is rich enough now to actually hire Jade for her own ride?
But Jade doesn't come back. You already said that, so.
This could happen off camera. Fanfic, brother. Fanfic.
Oh my god. See, that's what's
happening. You're going to work on your reboot. You got to explore all the angles, dude.
As he gets... See, here's the thing. I get sauced. It's fun. He gets sauced. It starts getting weird. Like, I gotta, like, start, like, figuring out, like, what? Anyway.
I can tell how much redder my face is in the camera than it was when we started the episode.
Okay. So, yes. That's the end of the Vegas charade.
It is. So now we're going to find our way to a new city entirely. Philadelphia. Go Eagles. Thank you for stopping Mahomes from three-peating. We do have a purpose here, as we're catching up with some familiar faces at FBI headquarters. In a conference room, Gordon Cole and Albert Rosenfield are debriefing several agents.
Hello.
Hey,
it's Gordon.
Good to see them back.
It's Gordon. Hello. Anyway.
Honestly, he seems like even keel when he's at the conference table.
Until he gets on the phone. He's like, yeah.
Then he's his old self. But yeah, in the conference room, like, he must have like some advanced technology for his hearing aids for group meetings or something like that. But Gordon and Albert are debriefing several agents on a current case. A collection of random items sit on the table, which Albert explains are clues to the identity of a murder suspect who can't be named out loud by the witness due to reasons of national security. Wow.
Couple of bikini
That's
photos.
A convoluted explanation. Yeah. The items are, in order, a booty picture. That one is a straight up booty picture.
It's like this is probably a porno
photo
shoot.
Yeah.
But like, this is like before she takes off her bikini. Like,
yeah, that's like the first in his sequence.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other one is a very candid regular.
Yeah, no, that's like, one of those pictures that is in the frame when you buy it.
Right.
That's a stock shot.
Right.
Yeah. But after the booty picture, we get a pair of old rusty pliers. A picture of two women in bikinis. That's the stock shot we're referring to. A picture of a small boy in a sailor outfit.
It looks augmented quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, that one looks computer enhanced. Like it's a photo of David Lynch as a child with a sailor outfit added or something, maybe.
Weird. This is weird. It looks weird.
Yeah, it looks weird. A large and heavily modified machine pistol with a giant silencer and a jar of dried beans.
Yes. Black-eyed peas, maybe.
Could be. They look a little big for that.
You think so?
Yeah, they look like beans to me.
Maybe lentils.
Cole dismisses lentils or beans. Cole dismisses his agents to
lentils.
Get to work.
Like, come on. Like, we could do like red beans. We could do black beans. Jesus Christ! I'm just trying to like. Hey, for the people that don't have the video, I'm trying to say like, they kind of look like black-eyed peas, or maybe they're like lentils. They look in that pale color. You know, come on, Gabe.
For all those people without video who are watching Twin Peaks.
Jesus Christ! Why am I even here?
Because we're buds, Ian. That's why. Cole dismisses his agents to get to work, asking one in particular, named Tammy, to stay behind and show him and Albert what she discovered in New York.
Well,
Lucky for us, because Tammy is the best-looking one in the bunch.
She's pretty hot. What I like
male
about
or
this,
female.
What I like about this is that like during the lineup of he's like, well, go figure it out, motherfuckers. Get out of here. Go do it and get out of here. It's like, I'm not gonna fucking. He's like, they show us all this stuff. But it's like not that important because like, well, maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it comes back to haunt us. But like, it just feels like it's like a thing that's happening. I'm like, hey guys, go figure this out. And then we get on to the real gruesome shit with Tammy. Tammy is very attractive. She looks like she's a young partier. She has got like this dark hair, but then she's obviously dyed it kind of red sometimes. And then the way she fucking talks is very seductive and aggressive. And it's just like, oh my God, just stop fucking me with your eyes, you know? Anyway, you can probably feel the same intensity, right, Gabe? Is it just me, or do I feel that same intensity? She's like very like.
It is not just you.
She's very seductive, like just like why is this chick trying to fuck me through the television right now? Anyway,
she's one of those women who is inherently seductive without even trying to be.
It's wild.
She's Jessica Rabbit. She's not bad. She's just drawn that way.
Right? It's wild. I just like,
and honestly,
I'm just watching her. I'm trying not to be that way. I was like, holy fuck, what is going on here? And I've never seen you in anything before. Where did you go? Where have you been? Like, what the fuck?
Well,
anyway.
That's because she's not strictly an actress. This would be one of her first major roles. Her name is Krista Bell, and she has actually done more music with David Lynch than she has film. So, yes.
That makes sense.
She's a singer, yes.
Yeah.
I have not yet checked out her work with Lynch. I have listened to a couple of Lynch's albums. I don't know if you have yet. There's a couple of songs in particular he did with Karen O that are really not all that bad. They definitely have that Twin Peaks vibe to it. Like he's a big fan of that desert vibrato guitar.
Right.
Gotcha. You know the sound I'm talking about, like that heavy reverb, clean tone.
Just go watch Six String Samurai. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, Link Ray, that kind of shit.
Yeah. So what kind of music you don't really know what music she does though. She's done music for him.
I don't.
You don't know what her.
I mean, knowing where Lynch swings in that regard, I would guess it's this kind of like ethereal, kind of like breathy, slow-paced. Krista Bell.
Krista Bell. Okay.
Chrysta. And I believe as a musician, she stylizes her name as one word.
So Krista Bell is one word?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
In the credits, she's billed as first last name, but I think her albums are released like as a single word for the artist.
I would like to say this. She reminds me of this girl that I had the hots for when I was in Seattle at art school. that worked at Hot Topic, and I could never drum up I could not the gumshoe to like go in there and ask her out. But that's who she reminds me of. Like I could see her as a younger person as being this goth girl at working at Hot Topic, just to make ends meet. When she's trying to work through college. But now it's like, holy shit, that's what Anyway, cool. You're in the FBI now. That's awesome.
Yeah,
she's super. I know. No, I found her very. I was like,
very attractive, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that assessment.
So do we get her a lot? I mean, I know she's going on the trip at the end, but like, do we get her through this whole series?
We do.
Oh my god, that's awesome. All right, I'm in.
Yeah, she kind of serves as the proxy for, people who are viewing this series as their first experience with Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I got you.
So she's the new blood being put on the old case.
Gotcha.
To try and offer a fresh perspective.
Gotcha. That's cool. Fun.
And
get lost, Audrey. I have no interest in you anymore. I got a new muse.
I will say that she's not treated entirely like eye candy, but it happens often enough where it makes me slightly uncomfortable at times.
Like Gabe already making my theory, my statement again for me
not necessarily.
Kind of.
And Tammy gets probably better treatment than any other woman in the series.
Does she get naked in this episode? In any of this series?
She does not.
Oh, okay. Well, he respects her. Holy shit.
There you go. There's a lot of women that don't get naked in Twin Peaks.
Okay. The important ones, but not the like offhanded sex ones. Like those ones, like obviously are trash. David Lynch.
I wouldn't say she's trash. I mean, she's kind to Dougie.
No, it's fine.
She helps him when he's obviously helpless.
Yeah,
so
I'm not asking you for defense. I'm just saying.
Where were we? Okay, yeah, Tammy's actually going to show off her brains here.
Yes.
So yeah, what did Tammy discover in New York? She discovered Sam and Tracy with most of their heads missing.
That's wild. That's like
yeah, that is some pretty graphic. Although it just looks super fake to me because there's no skulls, there's no bone. It just looks like an empty rubber casing.
Like a hole, like holes in their necks. It's kind of wild. It's a very weird.
Yeah, so it crosses that line between ultraviolence and absurdism. For me, it was just like,
yeah,
this is clearly not a human body.
It's weird,
but yeah, the notion of the extreme violence that it would have taken to get a human body to that state.
Maybe it harvested the skulls. Maybe it pulled the skulls out, and that's why it's just an empty husk of like skin and blood.
And it mounted them on the wall of its spaceship, and then it flew off to the Panama jungle to hunt Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Or Danny Glover. One of the two.
Or Danny Glover. Hey, man, we're 20 years after that particular vision of L.A., so
doesn't matter.
Who knows?
Yeah, right.
Poor Bill Paxton. Tammy informs Albert and Gordon that NYPD was of no help at all. They did not know who owned the building. They also were not able to find the security guards who reportedly worked there. From all of the cameras in the room that we know are there, they were only able to pull a single image from the glass box on the night of the murders. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. This image is a blurred and indistinct picture of the entity that we know to have committed the crime.
Here's the
no other evidence was recovered from the scene.
Right. So I thought it would have been way, way interesting if there was a kind of a really crazy blurry photo of Cooper. I thought that would have made it way more interesting. Like, No. Like, everyone's kind of looking at it, but they don't really kind of put it together. But maybe Gordon or maybe Albert, one of them. You kind of like create this thing where like they see beyond it.
Doesn't that look familiar?
And they're like, nah.
Like,
and then you're looking at it.
spectrograph analysis.
Right. And then and then what happens is then it's like it plays on, but it's just kind of I kind of think that's kind of a missed opportunity, really. I think
I agree.
I think I would have done that. I would have like thrown it out there like you could have fucked it up a little bit, but like maybe if you kind of squinted, oh man, that looks like fucking Coop. Like maybe it's behind the entity or it's just another thing. But I would
yeah, because they were in the box at separate times,
right? But they were still there being shot with video cameras and everything. And
or Tammy's report includes that there were 3 hard drives that were somehow melted and were beyond our ability to.
Yeah, something like I just feel like it's funny. It's so decompressed, but then it also moves really fast. Like they just go over shit so quickly, and it's like. And you know what? I'm sure, actually, I'm sure David Lynch thought about it. I can't think he wouldn't have thought about that aspect of it. And I'd be curious to know why he decided not to do that. I guess we'll never know at this point. But
here's the thing that I noticed.
Go ahead.
When the entity attacks Sam and Tracy, like we remember, it smashes the wall, right, to get out.
Right.
Tammy makes no mention of that.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's intentional or if that's just, some kind of editing error. But yeah, she makes no mention that the glass box had been shattered.
Yeah. Was it? Or did it fly through it? Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. We don't know.
He just says there was a glass box in the room with a bunch of cameras around it.
But somehow the cameras are seeing that, but not Coop, who was there quite a bit longer.
Yeah. I mean, we're obviously not obeying the rules of physics at this point.
Well, no shit.
No shit, Sherlock.
I mean, here's the other thing. Any science doesn't matter. We're on David Lynch's mind. Like, it doesn't matter if it is supposed to make sense. If he doesn't want us to see it, then we're not going to see it. That's basically where we're at right now. It could.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Cole's secretary pipes in on the intercom with a message. On your phone, it's Cooper. Deliberately misleading in this instance.
Yeah, because it's not.
Yeah. It's about Cooper, but it's not Cooper. Gordon and Albert exchange astonished looks and head immediately to his office, where he answers the phone on his desk. He asks a lot of single-word questions, then a couple more verbose ones. Are you sure it's him? What do you mean, trouble? He then tells the person on the other end to set up a meeting for 9 a.m. sharp, and after hanging up, lets Albert know that early in the morning, they're headed to the Badlands of South Dakota, and then he tells Tammy that she'll be joining them. And in a motif that we'll see recur several times this season, our final scene of the episode is a concert at the Roadhouse.
Wait, before we go there, let's go back to the office.
Okay.
So.
Oh, the decor.
No, the decor's fine. That's not what I'm getting at. Here, I'm actually. David Lynch is backing Gordon as Gordon. He is 100% Gordon. He's like 100% that character.
Mm-hmm.
Albert is not the same Albert to me. He feels a bit tired and done. And he says something to her. What does he say to her? I'm forgetting.
About a truckload of Valium or something.
Yeah, he just seems like very done.
How about a truckload of Valium?
But he doesn't seem like the way more
acerbic
on top of it. Albert, he feels kind of done, like he's at the end, like he's just
he's got 25 years of weariness behind him.
Whereas Gordon has 24 years, but he's still the same Gordon. It's just So I don't know if Albert is coming or if Miguel is coming at him at a different place. I don't know. I haven't seen the next episodes. I don't know if he plays him that way throughout. But like just me initially, he's like, oh, it feels like a different Albert. So,
yeah, mild spoiler. He's not a different Albert. He's just an older and wiser Albert.
okay, because he
I mean,
just
which you
I
could argue
miss.
is a different Albert.
I don't know. It just doesn't.
Like,
He doesn't feel like a bro here. He feels like I feel like he'd be a little bit more. All right, Cooper. But he doesn't really. He feels like finding out that Cooper's alive or there's a Cooper. Like it feels like more of a burden. And I just like, okay, I wasn't. That was not the feeling I was hoping for.
no, that's not the impression I get. Maybe
Oh,
this was
I
just a
get it in
rushed
this
scene,
episode.
but
I get it in this episode 100%. But
no, I, and me, I have the ability to look at the series as a whole, but I never got like the notion that Albert cares any less.
no, I feel like it less here. I feel like, I don't know. I just got that. I seriously get that from this scene.
I mean, there were those last couple of episodes that he appeared in, that there was that very genuine warmth toward
Right,
Cooper.
but he doesn't have it here.
He doesn't display it here, yes. I don't know that that necessarily means that he doesn't have it, but maybe at this point there have been so many hoaxes and so many false
So
leads
you're
in the
hoping that it's a
years.
disbelief, like
Yeah,
okay, we've
it's a
been following leads
skepticism.
about Cooper. You're hoping
Yeah,
that.
it's a healthy skepticism on his part.
Whereas Gordon is always going to be positive no matter what the outcome
Yes,
is. That's
Gordon is the eternal optimist, and that's why they work well together as they contrast in that regard.
All right. We'll see.
Like, yeah, I mean, Albert was always like oh, this sucks. Brr, I don't like this. Brr. And Gordon was always like, oh, this is great. This is fun. This pie is amazing. That girl is beautiful. Which, I don't think is too far off from the reflections of the actual personalities of these two real people that portray these characters,
Okay. No, that's fine.
given what I know about
I
them.
just wanted
So,
I just wanted to share my thoughts on that whole scene. Like it felt
mhm.
I mean, but he still felt like a different Albert. I don't know. I guess I was thinking of something different, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
Well,
I get you.
we'll hang out and we'll watch it
And
and we'll
that's,
see.
it's your first look at him, and
Okay.
it's not a real intent look, but Albert gets a lot of fun stuff to do in this series,
Cool.
thankfully.
All right. Awesome.
Which is kind of sad because, as you see in the credits, we'll get there in a second.
Yeah, no, but I
Let
was
me read this last
Yeah.
paragraph. But yeah. The final scene of the episode is a concert at the Roadhouse. This week, it's a band known as the Cactus Blossoms. They're performing their song Mississippi. And we get a few minutes of quality live performance coverage before the closing credits roll over the rest of the performance.
Yeah,
Beautifully shot. This is
kind
really
of
good.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like, are we gonna get some more interaction from random cast because of last episode? But no, they just they played this out and then they just rolled credits and it's like, oh, okay. And this is pretty much how all the episodes end, right? Regardless of what happens, they kind of do this all the time.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
A lot of them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, it's a fun way to end the show for sure.
It is. It's great. And we get like that. We get a lot of intimate time with the band and with the performance before we get the nuisance of the credits in front of it.
I have a
which
question.
I love about it.
Do any of the bands have acting parts in the show before they wrap up in the show? Or are they all just purely
that's
just
my
acts?
recollection now.
Oh, it'd be interesting to I would have I would have fucked with that a little
Trent.
bit.
Yeah.
No, it didn't have to be Trent, but just anybody, just kind of a little simple scene with flirting with somebody from the old cast and they talking shit and it's like, oh, I gotta go, and then they run up on the stage or something. I don't know. I would just
with one exception.
So I did just call it, is what you're saying.
Maybe. but probably not in the way you think.
Sure, of course.
With one exception, the musical performances do not relate to the cast of the story. Although all of the musical performers do appear in the credits as cast members.
Another question. Does James ever reperform the song?
Do you want the answer to that right now?
You just told me. So that's awesome. Okay. So let's wrap this episode up with what
I hate it when you ask me questions like that, man.
I just love it.
You put me in a place where I can't help but spoil shit for you.
No, it doesn't really.
Fuck, dude.
I don't really mind spoilers. I don't know if you know me. I don't actually. It's fine.
I hate spoilers.
Oh, I don't
personally. I detest spoilers.
I don't really give a
don't
shit.
like having surprises, even
really,
the bad ones, spoiled for me.
I don't even give a shit. I get this point as a filmmaker. Like, if I can't see, I already knew it was coming. I just needed can I just?
You just needed that confirmation.
Confirmation that I'm not that dumb of a person.
And you would have seen it from the look on my face.
Anyway,
even if I'd have said no words, you'd have had the answer to that.
Dude,
question.
I'm so looking forward to it. I'm so hyped
because
for
you
it now.
know how much I hate.
I'm so hyped
song.
for it. Anyway, what are we doing now? Oh, what it was?
Well, that's the end of the episode.
That's the end of the episode. So, what kind of you had some trivia for us, or some kind of
I didn't have. Well, not trivia, but you had something that you wanted to revisit. You said about the Mr. C. Dougie theory that we weren't able to get into earlier.
I thought we talked about it. Did we not talk about it?
We might have revisited it. I just wanted to make sure we covered it.
No, I think we covered it in the episode. I think
okay.
We're good. I think we covered it.
I'll take your word for it. So yeah, I wanted to touch real quick, and it's going to have to be quick because this is not a rabbit hole. This is a whole warren. On the purple area that Cooper found himself in earlier.
Oh, okay. You really want to? Okay, we're going to deep dive.
Yeah. Right. So this is a deep dive, very, very deep dive. So I'm pulling this off of a Reddit post. The user has subsequently deleted their info, but the post remains. So I'm going to quote a little bit here. The purple world in episode 3 has been referred to as the Mauve Zone. This term is taken from the writings of Kenneth Grant, who was a disciple of Aleister Crowley. He was someone who spent a lot of time studying and writing about Western occultism and magic with a K. Comic book fans, this is the same kind of shit that Grant Morrison and Alan Moore have gotten really deep into.
Have you ever gotten into Grant Morrison's like magic shit, like with the masturbation into the?
No.
Oh, okay. Man, if
no,
you've never read about that shit, it's fucking wild. Anyway.
Honestly, like, going into this makes me want to read more about like Grant and Crowley and like the Thelemic teachings and like just for the sake of seeing what their goal was with this.
Right? I'm not like I'm hoping it's Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
Grant Morrison's the bald one, right? Like the skinny bald one. Yeah, he would tell, okay, my God, this is wild. But he would say, write something you really want on a piece of paper, jerk off onto it, come onto it, scribble, crumple it up. Like, what was that documentary? There's a documentary with Grant Morrison, and he talks about this shit. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, I didn't know this one.
It's fucking wild, and it's like a cult weird shit. Like, he's like, anyway.
I know he's into. Yeah, I know he's into that, and like, I guess from what I understand, Mark Frost takes a lot of his inspiration from this school of thought as well.
Okay, all right.
So but the writer here specifically that we're discussing is Kenneth Grant. And he kind of took this all in another direction. Like he was the first to associate the whole alien abduction phenomena with occult magic. And he's, like Crowley, his work has widely been discredited from, lots of different schools of thought, but there are certain terminologies and things like this that he came up with that are still kind of resonant. And so here are the ones that relate to Twin Peaks going on. So Kenneth Grant describes the Mauve Zone as a kind of self-contained world at the very edge of reality between what we can experience as human beings and what we can only conceive of as, quote, non-existence. And there's like a tangent to Kabbalah here. For those of you familiar with the Tree of Life teachings, this concept is closely related to Daath, Daath.
Okay.
But yeah, Kenneth Grant believed that magical manipulation of our reality could be done with the help of alien beings in the Mauve Zone. That it could be visited in a particular kind of sleep, such as a coma or hypnosis, that there were beings that we might consider monsters, and that it sent messages to our reality via phenomenon like UFOs or perhaps apparitions like the Giant. Of note, Grant also credited the Mauve Zone as being the source of meaningful coincidences, synchronicity, and happy accidents in our world, such as those taken advantage of by Cooper's more intuitive detection techniques, like throwing a rock at a bottle.
Using a chalkboard in the woods with donuts.
So yeah, this is the kind of stuff that they're like, what if this were real?
Well, Gabe, it is real.
And how do we examine this on film?
Grant Morrison's documentary is Grant Morrison talking with gods. And just this little blurb here. Grant Morrison.
I need to watch this.
Grant Morrison, philosopher, pop icon, shaman, and storyteller. That's what he considers himself. So, there you go.
I can't argue with any of those.
I also have a documentary with Alan Morrison, Alan Moore Morrison, Alan Moore. That is also equally weird, but not as crazy as the Grant Morrison jerking off onto fucking paper and getting like Alan Moore is weird for weird's sake, but like when you're like, hey, I'm going to jerk off and make this reality. It's like, dude, I can jerk off onto something and make it reality? Like, that's wild. Anyway.
Hey, I mean, Grant Morrison has been pretty successful.
Pretty fucking successful. So I
do want to take this
I started jerking off
opportunity.
more, I just started jerking off all the time,
Started.
Always doing it. Never quit.
30 years at this point, right?
I do want to take this.
I do want to take a moment to point out that Grant Morrison does identify as non-binary.
Well, he's fucking his like words on the paper, so I get that. It's like
their words on the paper.
Yeah, their words. Yeah, the binary code.
Sorry to be picky, but I feel like in this day and age, it's more important than ever to respect people's preferences.
Yeah. No, I understand. I 100%. And I only speak on binary.
Not shaming you. Not shaming you.
I
don't think you were aware.
I only speak on binary code on Facebook anyway, so.
Yeah, what the fuck is up with that?
That's become a whole movement. It's my whole thing.
That's how you avoid the algorithm?
No, I just because I'm saying some politically charged stuff, and I just like no one. Here's the thing, man. This is a tangent. This is an offshoot.
Hey,
the world is changing. Facebook sucks. Fuck Facebook. Fuck Meta. but instead of killing my Facebook page, I decided to like make it a resistance kind of political anti like fight the power, and instead of typing what I think, I thought I would just come up with more aggressive things and then just do it in binary, because no one ever gives a shit what I say anyway. And like, if anyone really wants,
so you're not concerned that sort of rhetoric is going to flag you for retribution later on down the line?
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. If they want to, I mean, I'm this close to killing my Facebook page anyway. But if the cops show up at my house and they want to arrest me, no,
because
I feel
of
like
something you said on Facebook.
Yeah. So if someone really wants to like copy and paste my binary code into a text translator and like figure out what it says, that's fine. You do it. But I just decided that I affiliate as a bot. So like it's not even like it's Ian's. It's not even Ian. It's Milkman Pictures. I'm a bot. It's just, and I'm about resisting on Facebook. And I've started, instead of stopping friending people, I just started friending a lot of people. So I can just start let this bleeding into other people's shit.
Okay.
So like the whole idea is that, well, I'm aware that I can unfollow people and I don't want to see their stupid shit. They probably don't know that. So like when I post, a video or something that's like, hey, this is something that's important. We're rising up. We're trying to fight the power. They're like, oh, what the fuck is this shit? Or when I post new photos of me with like kids in an internment camp, or the tank guy. I'm just like trying to like start slowly trying to embed myself in other people's Facebook pages about resisting and like the powers that be, and like I guess selfishly,
Guerrilla radio.
Selfishly, I'm creating an art installation with my Facebook page. That's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, that's.
I dig it. I dig it.
Like fuck Meta, fuck Facebook, fuck all that shit. Like I really want to kill it. But I feel like the only way I can reach people is through it. So if I just keep adding people and just showing them videos of resistant music and people's like cool music that is resisting the power, and then all my opinions are in binary code, so that they'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, whatever. That's just what it is. Like, I'm a bot. I'm a bot fighting for the fighting for the people.
At least you're trying.
Isn't it dumb? It's stupid. It's stupid as fuck. But like, dude, we are in a very.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
We're in a very dark period right now, and I wrestle with the fact that I'm an artist trying to do stuff, and like I'm not really ever been I'm not really a political artist. Like I'm not. But I want to be. I want to raise awareness. I want people to pay attention. So, and before, where I was just like kind of hovering around 80 friends, where I was just like, hey, I'm just 80 friends of my regular friends, and I don't want to deal with it. It's like, no, I'm just going to start friending people. I'll start friending them. Just like start, like, so like, I'm tired, Gabe. I want people like, okay, hey, you know what? If you're listening right now, maybe you don't agree with me, but you can agree with this. Empathy is a fucking muscle. Empathy is something that we all should be fucking trying to understand. Empathy is a muscle. If you use it,
not a sin.
It gets stronger. You should feel empathy.
Absolutely not a sin.
Even if you do not 100% agree with something, you should still have empathy for that person and not feel agitated or aggressive against them. Like, you should feel empathy for them and their... Anyway, empathy is a muscle. It gets stronger when you practice. Use empathy. Don't just go out the gate fucking hating. I don't know how we got here. Well, how did we get here? This is just fucking empathy. Be empathy, man. Empathy.
The internet dehumanizes people.
Empathy. Be a human being.
It makes people seem like they're not people. It makes them seem like they're just...
Don't dehumanize. Sentences. Empathy. 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 Come on. Just before you just go out the gate like, fucking hate. No, just fucking sit down. Do you want your kids to be hated? Do you want your kids to feel like... Just feel some empathy for these people that have put up with a lot of shit in their lives. Anyway, oh my God, I'm just preaching. I'm ranting again.
At least it's at the end of the episode, so people can tune out.
Yeah, they're probably done. They tapped out at my first round. Yeah. It's important.
Hey, you're not wrong though.
It's important. It's important.
You're not wrong. It's it's that old meme. I don't know how to explain to you that you should care about other people.
It doesn't matter. You know what? You don't have to agree with them. You 100% do not have to agree with them. But you need to feel empathy for their struggle.
Yeah.
Because that's for real. That's 100%. For real. This country is for real fucking them. A lot of them. And maybe I don't. A lot of us. Maybe I don't 100% agree with certain things, but man, I don't want them to feel lesser in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole country's about right now. This government's about like just fucking sectioning us off. Like they don't care about empathy at all.
No, they don't. Empathy is counterintuitive to capitalism, unfortunately.
Money, and that's money. But strength comes from within, and if we all can find a way
from within and from community.
And if we can all find a way to get together, even if we don't agree with everything that we believe in, we're stronger together that way. And we don't have to rely on the government to support us. We just need a government to... our government is supposed to reflect our values. Fucking A. We the people is what... Anyway, why am I fucking up here right now? God damn it. We got to get out of here.
I mean...
What else? Yeah. We got something else? We got to be Twin Peaks and get out of here, right?
We don't.
Why am I so drunk that I'm preaching right now?
Good episode.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun.
So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, folks. Yeah, we've been going on for a while now. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna encourage you to look up the writings of Kenneth Grant. We're also going to encourage you to show empathy to your fellow human being. To understand that the First Amendment does not mean you get to say whatever the fuck you want and suffer no consequences for it.
You can say what you want. That's what the country is about.
You can.
But you can still suffer consequences about that shit. It's not like it. The government is not going to penalize you.
You're free to be an asshole, but you don't get to complain when people don't want to associate with you for being an asshole.
Oh my God. Stop it. Stop bringing up points, Gabe. I don't want to talk anymore.
We shouldn't talk anymore. But if you're watching this show because you love Twin Peaks, you're probably in the same boat that we are anyway. Probably. We are preaching to the choir right now.
Right. But maybe not. Maybe
we'll
get somebody.
Maybe we'll get some constructive debate. I doubt it, but maybe. So in the meantime, we'll just wrap things up by saying... let a smile be your umbrella and be excellent to each other.
And check the Gmail, blankasafartpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, right. I'll check the Gmail.
Gabe's never going to check it. We probably have 100 emails from you guys, and none of you guys...
We don't have...
It'd be great to read an email. You know what? You should check it, Gabe, because it would be awesome to read an email on the episode. You know what's going to suck, though? He's going to check it, and it's like, no one there. You guys just let us down.
I'll tell you right now, if I did check it, and I found nothing there, I would never admit to checking it.
Oh, so you've checked it.
Maybe. Maybe not.
All right. That sucks.
It's a fun running gag, though, isn't it?
Isn't it? I mean, we've been getting views and hits, so I mean, we definitely have at least 50 people, give or take, that listen, watch our show. But
that's astonishing to me.
There's some people that give a shit. I guess I would,
yeah.
And
I would hope they give a shit about the important things too.
I would just like one of them to write in and be like, "God damn, Ian is right.
Stop talking about politics."
No. God damn, Ian's right. This show sucks. No. Anyway, all right.
That's your payoff to the series.
Oh, 100%. That would be my payoff.
Someone else, another first timer coming in who has never watched it, watches it with us from start to finish, comments once on the very last episode. Yep, Ian was right. This show sucks. One can only dream, can't they? All right, folks, we're going to call it a night. Thank you for joining us. We hope you had fun, because we certainly did. And next week, it's part 4 of The Return. And we'll see you then. Have a great night. Much love. Take care.
Let the umbrella be your smile. Or is it the smile be an umbrella? I don't know what it is.
Let a smile be your umbrella.
I love you, babe.